Well, hello, NEDA ministry leaders. Hope you all are doing well today. I'm here with Dan Syvertson, the Executive Director at Camp Spofford. And we're glad to have Dan with us. And I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit about what God's been doing at Camp Spofford, as well as some details coming up for our district conference, which is why I'm sending this video out today. We are coming up October 20 and 21 is our district conference, and we're already in the month of October. And so I want to encourage you to sign up. I'm excited about this theme. Our theme is Renew. We want this to be an opportunity for pastoral couples to have a time of spiritual renewal. I know a lot of you have had a really challenging season, and so we want to be able to have a time for you to get away, to be poured into, and revitalized for the ministry that God has for you to do. So if you haven't already, you can go to our district web page and sign up there for the conference and find out some more details as well. That said, Dan, I'd love to ask you a few questions today. First of all, I just would love you to share a little bit with us about what God has been doing at Camp Spofford this past summer and this fall.
Sure, totally. Yeah, it's great to be with you, Sam. Looking forward to hosting everyone at the conference in just a few weeks. So we made a decision back on June 1st that we were going to reopen camp after closing in mid-March. And we made some alterations to our program. We had canceled our overnight youth program due to some New Hampshire guidelines and just the need to be able to spread out on our property. But we were able to run our family camp, our traditional family camp that we've been running for decades. And then we launched a local day camp to really turn our attention to our community, which has been a big theme of Camp Spofford throughout COVID. Family camp was really a tremendous success on many standpoints. We saw about 75% capacity throughout every week of the summer. We ran 8 weeks of family camp. We had our staff here for 9 weeks. And in a lot of aspects, it felt almost normal. There's a lot of things that we'll talk about that we've had to do differently and are doing differently, but we were able to provide a place for families to come and rest, be together, be encouraged to follow Jesus together. We had our youth chapels, we had our adult chapels. We had the luxury of having small family-style rooms at camp and larger gathering spaces to meet the need to spread out, and then a beautiful summer weather that allowed us to do a lot of things outdoors as well. When I think about the summer, there's really three things that stick out from just a reason to celebrate. So one would be the high school and college kids who worked. Staffing can typically be a struggle to recruit. This year, they didn't have any other options. So we had a lot of returning staff, a lot of college staff at camp this summer, and we recognized that they were really given a gift this summer to be together when so many kids, so many college students had to remain home and deal with some of the loneliness that many of us are dealing with. These kids were in cabins together, working alongside together, worshiping together. Our very first staff chapel this summer was really a neat moment of watching them worship together and really be together all summer and grow in their faith. And then the second piece would be the families. The families that came, we did not want to run camp unless we could do what we want to do for family camp. But that includes chapels, childcare, programming, and we were able to do everything that we typically do in a summer. And one of the things that allows is husbands and wives to connect with one another while their kids are in programming. It's a big part of what we do here at camp is make sure that they have time together. And coming out of COVID, that was a huge deal because you've been home with your kids for months. I remember talking to one couple, 5 kids, and they talked about it was the first time we've really had a chance to sit down and have a long conversation while our kids aren't all around us. And the rest that comes with that, the connection that comes with that, the rejuvenation that comes with that. And we would hear that all summer long. The beauty of community, beauty of time together as husbands and wives, as adults was a big part of it. And then the third piece was the outreach to the community, which has continued into the fall. And so we were able to run a local day camp. We had more local kids at Camp Spofford than we've really ever had. We had more non-Christians in our camper chapels than we've had in a long time. New doors have been opened with relationships with our neighbors and with organizations in the community. And that then carried right into the fall. So the schools still haven't come back to in-person learning. They've been doing remote learning, some hybrid learning here in Chesterfield. And so we launched a remote learning day camp this fall. We'll have anywhere from 15 to 25 kids, and every kid represents a family who needed help this fall, whose parents are both working and they needed somewhere for their kids to do their remote learning, to socialize, and we've been that place. And we have continued to see the gratitude. We got a recent communication from parents that really highlighted what we were hoping to highlight, and that was, thank you for providing a place. We've struggled with childcare ever since COVID-19 started. And they even said, we recognize you're not doing this to make a profit, but to serve a community, so thank you. And that's, we wanted to be a blessing to the community through COVID, and this has been one of the ways we've been doing it. So, and then all of this, we've run family weekends. We've hosted a couple retreats this fall. We're one of a few camps that are still open up here in the New England area, especially around us. And we've done all of it since June 1st with 0 cases of COVID. And I truly believe it is by the grace of God, his protection over camp, and the efforts of our staff and our guests. There's high trust between everyone that comes to camp, and I think it's part of the reason why we've had the success we've had since June.
Man, that's awesome to hear. I love it. Both how God bless you guys this summer, and then the creative opportunities for ministry this fall. That's really great to hear, Dan.
Yeah, and it's been really neat to be a part of. Our staff's done a great job, and I would say it's been hard. I think we all recognize here at camp, so it would be somewhat easier to just pack it up and call it a fall and wait till next summer or wait till COVID's over and try to navigate financially what that would look like. But that's not what we're here to do. We've had to change some of our strategies of how we reach our mission, but the mission is still alive and well and important to go after, regardless of how hard it is. And I feel like we've figured out a lot of it. We figured out a lot of how to do this well in the midst of COVID.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'd love you to share actually a little bit more about that. I know as our guests are preparing to come, I'm sure you get this from all your groups.
Yep.
It's just helpful to hear, what are some of the adjusted procedures that you've done at camp, trying to provide, a safe environment.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we have a few things working in our favor. The low cases, certainly in Cheshire County, no cases right now in Chesterfield, a low case count in New Hampshire, and really low percentages throughout the Northeast. And so the guidelines have opened up enough for dining, for lodging, for churches that give us the opportunity to do what we do. And then, as I said, small hotel-style rooms with private bathrooms, large gathering spaces like the dining hall and chapel. And so as a result, we can create a space. I think we learned very quickly that the safest way to do it is in family units, to have families come and stay together, and then throughout the areas of camp, really incorporate that social distancing and mask wearing. We do strongly believe in the effectiveness of both of those, and we look to do that in all of our areas. So the dining hall being an example, in the chapel, everything's 6 feet apart at least. So tables are at least 6 feet apart. Groups of chairs in the chapel get set up at least 6 feet apart. And then we encourage people to either sit with families or sit with people that they've chosen to be close with while they're here at camp. So whether it's that weekend or in the case of the summer, whether that was a week at family camp. We've had to completely change our dining experience. I think if you've been to camp in the past, it's a big part of what we do well here, and we are continuing to deliver excellent food, but we serve the food differently. You don't get it yourself. We put it on the plate for you at the buffet area. You go up as a table to the buffet area. We've done a lot more touchless self-serve things around the dining hall. Our wait staff works a little bit more often in serving tables so that people aren't crossing paths nearly as much. From a chapel standpoint, we don't require masks in when you're seated in chapel, but right now masks are being worn when you're entering and exiting the dining hall, when you're going to and from the buffet, and even when you're entering and exiting the chapel. Just trying to limit that exposure when we are crossing paths. And then, certainly we have changed a lot of our cleaning protocols. I'll be honest, I don't think camp's ever been cleaner than it has been for the last 5 months. And we saw a drop in sickness across the board all summer. And I think a lot of that is attested to some of the cleaning protocols that are in place. And then the last thing I would say, and it's a big part of, I think, the success we've had, is the work that all of our guests do before they come to camp. And that has ranged from a variety of things. Some people get tested before they come. Some people just stay at home before they come. But I would say almost everyone is conscious before they come of where they're going, who they're around, and recognizing that the virus is contagious. And so if it does come in, it would be hard to limit spread. And so I think that's one of the things that we benefited from camp is people taking it seriously before they arrive. You put all those things together and you add in God's hand of protection over Camp Spofford. And I believe that's why we've seen 0 cases so far.
Yeah, that's really encouraging. That's very encouraging. Well, I know you have a real heart, Dan, for pastors and pastoral couples. Certainly, you yourself, your own experience, but also I know as part of your ministry at camp has been, running retreats really aimed at health for pastoral couples. Anything that you'd like to offer as encouragement or advice to pastors and pastoral couples today?
Yeah, it is such a difficult season. And I think one of the things that we know and recognize about marriage is that stress makes good marriages stronger and bad marriages weaker. And one of the things we talk a lot about here at camp in regards to marriage is marriage never stays the same. It's either getting better or getting worse. And I say if you think it's staying the same, it's probably getting worse. It takes intentional habits. It takes intentional biblical habits to really invest in your marriage, invest in your relationship with the Lord, and invest in one another. And so one of the things we do at camp is just try to create that space and that place for you to be intentional in growing healthy habits for your marriage and spending time with the Lord, spending time with one another, pursuing God together, following Jesus together. And so we work really hard here to give you a place to rest, give you a place to talk to one another, give you a place to be safe right now in the midst of COVID-19, to get away from any of the distractions that can pull away and deal with the difficult season that we're in. And so whether that's the marriage retreats that we now run with teaching, or it's something like a NEDA conference where we just want you to come and rest and enjoy the conference that Sam is putting together for you and talk to one another and connect. All those things is really a part of what we try to do here to help you and to help marriages even throughout New England.
Well, I appreciate that, Dan. And we're grateful too for your partnership. We're looking forward to being at Camp Spofford here in less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so NEDA pastors, if you haven't signed up yet, please do so soon and be prayerful. We have a wonderful opportunity to get together, to look to the Lord and to be renewed in Him. So look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
Definitely. And we're praying for you guys and praying for your time here. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Dan.